So citizens' concerns are not being addressed. You don't have someone who's actually advocating in terms of citizens and service that citizens are getting from DISCO. That's on power. We have security issues, and we're saying, what is the clear road plan from southern Kaduna to Niger Delta to Plateau? What is the government actually doing? We have lots of reviews, lots of committees meeting. What is then the plan to ensure that Nigerians know that every Nigerian life matters? Then you're talking about corruption. We have a lot of cases, a lot of action, but no convictions. And we're not even sure that the money that has been recovered, there's no clear aggregate sum. So you can't go to a portal and say, this and this and this has been recovered from this and this individual, depending on if it was a plea bargain, they willingly forfeited it, whatever it was. How much has been recovered and what is this money being used for? 2016's budget, part of it was supposed to be financed by recovered loot. 2017's budget is in there, but we still don't have a sense of what these figures are and how they're coming to play. Cost of government is another one. So National Assembly is one of the big things we as an organization have been campaigning on. 469 individuals and their staff spend 115 billion naira every year. We've asked them for a breakdown of their budget, which they haven't provided. And we think that's also very interesting because they sit over the budget of the nation. And they've spent, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, and they were analyzing the State House budget, which is great because that's their job. But it's also ironical because you can't analyze their own budget like that.
Was that part of the issue you raised in this?
Yes, it was.
Protest?
Yes, it is. Yeah, yes, it is. So those are the issues that we're saying. So there are clear issues that the government can actually act on. So yes, you hear it loud and clear. Then the next step will be, what are you doing about the things that we
cannot change? They say they cannot change. They did not promise Nigerians that they will have change within 1 year.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yes, and then right now you'll have to give them 4 years before you begin to protest. That is what Rotimi Amechi, the Minister for Transport, was saying in their yes. Don't you see a sense in what he's saying?
No, not at all. Because I mean, I'm sure there's some wonderful Yoruba proverb that speaks to this, which escapes me at the moment. But how someone is going to finish, you can see the signs from the beginning. So it'll be very foolhardy for someone to ask me to wait for 4 years to see change when the signs between now and almost 2 years, which is why we said half-time report card is coming up, between now and then doesn't seem to show that. And a big part of it is the fact that there's nothing that Nigerians can look to and say, okay, this is where we're going and this is how that is being managed. People talk a lot about, for example, even if you say something that's very easy to look at, we're in a country now that has 7 different exchange rates, depending on where you are or what service you're providing. That doesn't make any sense in any way, shape, or form. So you're telling me to wait for 4 years we have 14 different exchange rates? I mean, if I'm using that as an example. So if you start it's easy to see where you're going to end by how you start. And we're saying from how they've started, it doesn't show that change is going to come.
You know, there are those who say the acting president, clearly in an acting capacity, there are certain areas, certain things he may not be able to do. Are you concerned that some of the demands you're making, if the president does come back, now that he's not around, your message may not necessarily get the kind of attention and action it desires?
I don't think so. I'm not sure that there's anything. I mean, I'm thinking through a list, but nothing comes to my mind really quickly that the acting president wouldn't have the power to act on.
Okay, all right. Let's get to Abuja and get some more response from there.
Well, thank you, Chamberlain. Just quickly, is there anything that she said that you disagree with?
Yes.
What do you disagree with?
Yes, the five-point agenda of their protest. I disagree with some of them.
What do you disagree with?
Yes, she is demanding for adequate security. And today Nigeria will have adequate security. I went to Borno. I had a rally in Borno alongside the National Coalition Against Terrorism. I was in Maiduguri for 5 days. I drove on hold up for 10 minutes. We're in a rally, massive rally in Maiduguri.
Mr. Again, just quickly, I think she was very specific with
I will let you land. In the area of security.
Yes.
She's not fair to the government.
I believe that you're talking about
socio-economic investment. She's also not fair to the government. Because if you agree with me, the social investment program of Mr. President, of the present administration, is what we should all commend. The 5,000 naira stipends to vulnerable Nigerians, the extreme poor Nigerians. So let me be very frank with you. If you see an average poor man, he's a farmer.
To how many Nigerians?
An average poor man in Nigeria is a farmer.
To how many Nigerians was that stipend given?
Good. Now, that is what we should be talking about. We should be talking about increasing the number of of persons that are beneficiaries of the social investment.
So is your group talking about that?
Yes, we're talking about. We even made a demand from our rally that Mr. President, based on the high cost of prices of goods in the market, should increase the stipends for 5,000 naira to 10,000. We even made a demand very clear.
So you're also making demands as well?
Yes, we are also making demand. It's not that we just came to support government blindly. We examine the policies of government.
What other demands are you making?
Now, what we are saying now, like for this one, this rally we had, we just made a demand because we now had a counter rally from another group who we know fully well will be sponsored. Let me tell you why Two-Face Idibia. Let me tell you why Two-Face Idibia pulled out of that.
I'm not going to let you cast aspersions on anybody's personality because Two-Face Idibia is not here to defend himself.
He's a patriotic person. That is why I want to say, for Two-Face pulling out of that protest,
are you insinuating?
It is a sense
just
of
a moment.
patriotism.
Are you insinuating? I mean, she's listed the 5-point demand of, one voice Nigerian. A lot of people will find it very difficult to argue. So, for instance, let's even talk about security. Yes, there's some work and a lot of work. Let's give it to the government has been done in the area of the Northeast. But then there's been insecurity in some other parts of the country, in the Niger Delta, for instance, in southern Kaduna. Only recently we saw, some of the things that happened in that particular area. We've seen what's been happening generally around with farmers and herdsmen, and the crisis that's been caused. Kidnapping is rife in many parts of the country. One of the reasons why people are refusing to go, the airlines are refusing to go to Kaduna, even though they're citing logistics, is also part of, the security reasons along that Abuja-Kaduna road. So, for some people, they believe that security is still very much on the table, even
in the United States of America.
You don't agree with them?
Even in the United States of America, which seem to be the most secure state in the world, there are still insecurity. So we are talking about large scale of insecurity. What happened in southern Kaduna, it was act of terrorism. And the government is already on it. You are aware that sizable number of persons have been arrested with arms. And they are already with the security operatives. And as we speak, the presence of the Nigerian military and the police is heavy, very highly heavy in southern Kaduna.
Just a moment.
Now,
you say,
before the moment,
before you go on, you say that, of the 5 points that they have raised, you disagree with 2.
Yes.
In other words, you agree with 3.
Yes.
Which is a pretty good one.
Yes.
Because initially you said that since they are standing against the government, or they, did she just clarify that now? I don't know if you agree with her clarification.
No, I do not agree with her clarification. Let me explain to you. I'm coming
I will let you
gradually.
explain, and let me land on my question.
Before you explain, what she said, listen now.
Just a moment. You said they were standing on their own. Do you still think they were standing on their own?
They are still standing on their own. The point they made was to convince Nigerians that they are standing for Nigerians. But meanwhile, they are standing on their own. Let me tell you, we did a Save Agatu protest after the Agatu massacre in Benue, here in Abuja. We had over 1,000 persons willingly came out to protest. We proceeded from Unity Fountain to NEMA, from NEMA to the Ministry of Justice, down to the National Assembly. You get what I'm saying? People came out. If they are actually standing with Nigerians, Nigeria would have come out. It's because they know, Nigerians are aware that these people want to use their head. So persons just gathered together and called some certain persons and come and protest. The same way they just called Two-Face and said, come and spearhead the protest. And Femi Kuti said it very clear. Why they were not allowed to use the Fela Shrine is because Two-Face told him that some persons called him to spearhead the protest.